Okay, amigos, I hope we are live. There might be a delay, so no worries. There's about I think it's second or 2 second delay, but may the force be with you. Today is May 4th. If you're a Star Wars fan, it's an exciting day, and this is exciting because we're doing this live tutorial. This is the first time I'm doing a live tutorial on YouTube, so hopefully it'll go well. This is a typical transition, a typical visual effects in transition that I've seen on a couple of vlogs, travel vlogs, and it's really popular and it's pretty simple to do. Now, these are shots that I got in Paris last year, and I was blessed that my wife and we had the opportunity to go to Paris and was able to get these shots. Now, it's pretty simple to do, so let's go, and I'm gonna restart this. I'm gonna delete this comp, and what I'm gonna do is occasionally every couple minutes I'm going to switch back so I can read your comments, and if you have any questions we can address them right then and there, and we'll also have time at the very end. So I have this footage, and like I mentioned, this works really well if it's on a tripod. If you don't have your footage on a tripod, you need to either stabilize your footage or you would need to do some tracking, and maybe for another tutorial I can show you how to do it with a handheld shot. But for this one, this is on a tripod, so it makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to grab the footage and I'm going to bring it into the composition icon to create a new comp with the same resolution and same frame rate as our footage. Now, the idea is I'm going to have 3 layers of mask. We're going to use the pen tool to create 3 layers. One is a base, so we can see the cars. One is the cars, and we can see this portion of the column. The second level will be for this area, for this column, and then the third level will be for the top. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to make 3 copies, and this one will be, let's rename it to base. This one we'll name it level 02, and this one level 03. Okay, so I'm going to hide these, and for the base, let's go to the pen tool. I'm going to zoom in. And by the way, to zoom in is Control Plus if you're on a Windows. And what I'm going to do is simply I'm going to zoom in all the way so we can try to do a good mask. Okay, I'm going to zoom out, and then about here, I'm going to create this little perspective. And I'm going to go to the mask settings, and for now I'm going to switch it to none, and I'm going to rename this to left. It's always good to name your mask because you know which one is which. Okay, I'm going to change the color so you can see it. Let's go back and let's create a mask for this side. So I'm going to go here, and this is something that you should definitely take your time to create a good mask. So I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to click down here. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to switch it to none for now. And the reason I'm switching it to none, just so I can see what's going on, and we can rename this to right. And I'm going to switch the color to brighter color so I can see the mask. Okay, I'm going to pull out, zoom out, go again, and then this one, once again, one more mask, and this one is going to be a very loose mask, and this one will be just for the cars. And let's call this base. I'm going to change the color so I can see it, and I'm going to switch it to none for now. All right, I'm going to switch back and see if you have any comments. Perfect. Yes, DMJ Vlogs, thank you so much. All of you guys, thank you so much for watching. Okay, I'm going to switch back and continue the tutorial. So right now I'm going to hit add, so we can add this mask. Let's go down to the feather, and let's feather it about 30 pixels. So this is what we have. And let's go to these 2 columns. Hit M for mask, and hit MM twice so we can see the properties. And very simple, we're only going to feather it about one pixel, and I'm going to switch it to add. So this is what we have so far. And if we hit the transparency grid, you can see what we have. So that's our base. Now let's go to our level 2, and the same thing, we're going to go back to the pen tool, and let's just cut this section out. Yeah, this is a little time consuming, so I might try to speed it up a little bit so I can show you. Let's see where we want to go. Let me undo, because we want to go down here. So let me see if I can speed this up a little. We're going to go all the way down, and we're going to go across. Perfect. So this one, let's drill down to the mask. This one will be our left side. For now, I'm going to switch it to none because we have one more mask, and it's this side. So let me go back again, and let's draw this mask. Let me pull out so we can see. Oh, and when you're doing this, it's always useful to pull out and pull in. Okay, and let's just go all the way down here. Perfect. And this one, we can rename it to right. And let's go back to the left. Let's add it. And for these two, let's feather it 1 pixel. And let's go ahead and do the last level, this one. So the last level is this top portion. And once again, let's go to the mask tool. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go here. And I'm going to skip this little, well, actually, let's add this little part right here. You can see that there's a lot of different corners. Okay, now for this, definitely you would probably want to take your time to cut this out, but I'm going to show you a little trick right now. So I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to go all the way across. And what I'm going to do is this top portion, I'm going to only feather this top portion. There's a tool in After Effects that I don't know if many people know about. I don't really use it too much, but it was introduced a couple years ago, and it comes pretty handy. Let's just finish cutting this section out. Let's go down. Let's do this. Let's make a point right here. Let's go down here. Perfect. Let's go across. And I'm going to switch this to none. And I'm going to change the color so I can see it. And let's adjust some of these points. Now, when I do these tutorials for you, this is a section that I would pretty much speed up, but you're seeing it in real time, so you get to see exactly how sometimes I get to make my points, draw my mask. And you can add this part if you want, but I'm going to just skip it. It's not really important. Now, for this section up here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to feather only this section. So let's go back to add. And what I'm going to do is go here to the pen tool, and there's this tool called Mask Feather. And it was introduced a couple years ago in After Effects, and it's pretty cool. What you do is you add points. You see these little round points? So you add these points, and once you add the points, you can drag this, and when you drag this, you're just feathering it out. So this is pretty cool. So let me deactivate this so you can see that we have a nice feather. We can always go back to our selection tool and then just bring this down too. So I'm going to use this little trick. So it's up to you. This is going to go so fast that you may not even notice this section. But we'll do this for now. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. So let's just recap what we've done so far. And we've created 3 different levels of mask. One is the base right here. The second one is our level 2, and then finally our level 3. Now, what we want to do is we want a clean plate of all of this. We want a clean plate where we don't see the Arc de Triomphe. So there's 2 ways to do it. One, you can go into Photoshop and you can clone it, you can erase it, or you can use a new tool in After Effects. And the new tool in After Effects CC 2019, the content aware fill, will do it for you. So right now I'm running CC 2018 on this machine because I have Windows 7, but on my other machine, my laptop, I have CC 2019. I'm running Windows 10. So let me show you both methods. Let me switch over, and I'm going to show you the method using the new feature in After Effects CC 2019. So select your footage, let's go to the pen tool, and then let's draw around the area that you want to clone out. So in this case is this amazing building, the structure, Arc de Triomphe. And let's finish right here. So this is the area, and then in the mask, we have to switch it to subtract. And if we click on the transparency, toggle transparency grid, you can see that it's transparent. We cut it out. Now we have to go to the content aware panel, and it's right here. If you don't see it, just make sure you go to window, go to content aware fill, so you can see the panel. Now let's go to the panel, and there's a couple options that is noteworthy. Now alpha expansion is to expand or increase the size that you want to cut out. And for the fill method, there are 3 different methods. Now, object works well for moving objects. For example, a car on the road, or you have a drone shot and you want to clone out some people that are in the shot or they're moving. That works really well. Now, surface works well for static and flat surfaces. For example, a sign in a building or a stain on a shirt. And edge blend works well when you don't have a lot of detail in your background or in your texture. And for example, a good example is you're trying to clone out text on a paper, because paper is pretty much flat, doesn't have a lot of texture to it, details to it. So edge blend works well for that. Now for this example, I tried it with object and surface, and both worked really well. Actually, I think surface worked best for this one. And remember, surface works best when it's static, a static image. Static, for example, this is a static image and it's not moving. Now for range, you can select your whole entire duration. In this example, it's 7 seconds long, or you can do the work area, and this is my work area. So for this example, I'm only going to do 1 second because it takes a while to do this. Now there are 2 buttons, create reference frame. If you click on it, it creates a reference frame, an image that you can take into Photoshop. You can clone it out and use it to help After Effects do the cloning, or you can let After Effects do it all by itself, and that's what we're going to do with this example. So let's click on generate fill layer, and you can see that right now it's analyzing, and it created this image sequence. So right now it's empty. It's empty right now, but once it's done analyzing, it's going to render out this image sequence, and you can see that it created this folder right here, and this folder contains our image sequence, PNG image sequence. So let's just sit back, let After Effects analyze this and render this out. So I'm going to fast forward this section. It's done, and you can see that we have this PNG sequence, and if I solo it and if I drag, you can see that here it is, and it's on top of our footage. And let's just play back. Let's see how it is. Let's see how well it did. It's actually doing a pretty good job. Let me zoom in. Not bad at all. It actually did a pretty good job. Okay, amigos, so that was using the new feature in After Effects CC 2019. Now, if you don't have the new version of After Effects, I'm going to show you how to do it in Photoshop. But in Photoshop, it's going to be just a still frame. So let me switch over. Let me do a screen share of my desktop, and let me show you. So what I'm going to do is just simply make a copy of this one, and let me go to the M for mask. Let's delete all the mask, and let me go to the beginning, and let's save this reference frame. So we can do, let's see, say frame as, and you can say file, and it'll open up the render queue, and we can select Photoshop, which is fine, and we can give it a name, and let's find the right folder, and let's call it reference frame. Reference frame. Let's make sure that you're in full resolution. Let me go back to the render queue and let me hit render. Okay, now let's go to Photoshop, and I'm going to open that file, which is this one, the reference frame. So I'm going to open it up, and let me move this over here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab, let me make this so I can move it over. Let's grab the pen tool right here, and I'm going to simply just draw right around it like this. And I'm going to go to the path. I'm going to click on it to make a selection. I'm going to hit Q to open up quick mask, and I'm going to go to blur, Gaussian blur, so we can kind of blur it a little bit. Let's see, maybe about 4 or 5 pixels. I'm going to hit Q again to exit quick mask. Let's go back to our layers, and then just simply go to edit fill, and then let's switch it to content aware and hit OK. And Photoshop is going to do its best job to clone it out. And there you go. And then you see like sections like this one right here. You can always grab the clone tool. Let's grab the clone tool, and you can kind of fix it like this. Any areas that you might need to fix, you can go ahead and fix. But that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to save this. Control S. Let's keep going, and I'm going to import that reference frame. I'm going to import it, and let's hit ignore. Let's bring it in, and here it is. So I'm going to bring that in. Delete this layer. I'm going to bring it in, and there we have it. Now we can start animating. So let's start to animate this, and we're going to animate level 2. So what I'm going to do is about right here at 1 second, I'm going to grab the anchor point Y, which is the pan behind tool. You can see right there Y. And I'm going to just maybe bring it down here. And I'm going to hit P for position, add a keyframe. I'm going to go to 112, add another keyframe. I'm going to hit Shift S to also bring up the scale, add a keyframe. I'm going to go back and add this keyframe as well. And I'm going to unlink it. So right here, what I'm going to do is grab the position keyframe and simply just move this down, right here. You can see that we might need to go back and clone this section out. And we can always go back into Photoshop, clone this little section out. Okay, let's see. Save it. It's one reason I like using Photoshop in After Effects, because it works really well. Okay. Now we moved it down, and let's check it out. Let me hide this level. And you can see that we might need to bring these masks a little bit down, which is fine. Bring it down here. Just need to bring it a little bit more. Okay, let's see. Okay, it looks okay, but what we can do is we can fix it. What we can do is grab these keyframes, right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease in, and let's check it out. It looks okay. It's a little bit better, but we can do one more thing. And by the way, the scale, let's make it 80%. So there's a little bit, it grows a little bit as it goes up. And we can maybe make it 70. Now we can grab these keyframes. Let's go to the graph editor, And let's switch it. If you're in the value, switch it to the speed graph. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these keyframes. Actually, let's go one by one. Let's select the position and select this keyframe and this handle, and let's just move it in. So what it's doing is it's going to go really fast, then it's going to slow down. So you can see a little bit of a stretch as well, which is pretty cool. We can grab this set for the scale. Let's go back to the graph editor, and let's grab this one, move it here. We can do the same thing and move it back. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, that looks good. That looks a lot better. Let's go back, and I think there's more that we might need to clone out. If not, I can go back and use the image that I cloned out. And let's see. If it's not, there's a little bit of, you can see a little bit here. And that might be, let me see why. Let's see what's going on. Move this down here. Okay, there you go. And you might need to keyframe this section of the mask. But for now, let's leave it. And let's see what we have. So you can see we might have to, like I mentioned, might have to go back and do something like this. Like this part. So we might need to animate or create another mask for this part. But let's leave it simple. Let's leave it like this for now. And we have this coming in. And then let's go to the third level. And when this comes in, hit P for position, S for scale. Let's go to 2 seconds long, 2 seconds, and let's add keyframes. Let's go to the beginning. And what I'm going to do is we'll leave the anchor point right here. I think it's fine leaving the anchor point. You can experiment with the anchor point, but let's leave it there. I'm going to move this down right there. And the scale, let's unlink it and let's make it 80. So there's a little bit of a stretch. And right click. Let's go to Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease In. Let's trim this layer. I'm going to trim this layer right here. And once again, let's select this set of keyframes. Let's go to the graph editor. And what I'm going to do is bring this handle. So when I'm bringing it in like this, it starts out really fast at the beginning. Then for the rest, from 115 all the way to 2, it's going to be very slow. So it's just starting out very fast. And there's a little bit of a stretch. And that stretch is up to you if you want that little stretch, because we're doing a little bit of a scale as well. So it's totally up to you. Let's go here. Let me trim this layer right here. And then what we can do is, as it's going up the third level, we can slide this so it'll go up as well. Okay. So you can see that there is a little bit, you can see a little bit of the feather. But if we set the motion blur, we might get away with it. So let's check it out. Okay, so you could see a little bit. You might want to feather it out more. You might want to feather it more, and if the feather doesn't work, then you can go ahead and try to, go and cut out each little section. All right, let me switch back and see your comments. Daniel from Multimedia, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you guys. Masking my arch nemesis. Thank you, amigos. Okay, awesome. Okay, let's go back and let's finish this off. And what I'm going to do is we're going to do a transition here, and I'm going to take this comp and I'm going to bring it into the composition icon. So pretty much we're doing a pre-comp. And let's call this master. This will be our master footage. I'm gonna make a copy, bring it down, and let's just call this footage. Okay, I'm gonna hide it for now. In our master footage, right, let's see, as it goes up, right here at 212, go back to the pen tool, and we're gonna cut this out. So I'm gonna cut this section out. I'm gonna bring this down, and you can decide what you want to do here. We can probably go, let's just go down here, and this is something we can play around with. Okay, let's go hit M for mask. I'm gonna switch it to none right now so we can just double check. We can move this point a little bit down. We can move this right here. So yes, doing mask is sometimes time consuming. All right, let's switch it to subtract. And when we switch it to subtract, we have this cut out. And let's give it a little bit of a feather, about 1 pixel. And what I'm going to do now is for the footage that is underneath, let's bring it back, hit T for opacity, and very simple. What I'm going to do is at 212, let's put a keyframe, and then let's see, at 312, let's go all the way to 0. So this is what is going to happen. It's going to, the cutout is going to give the illusion that it's going to fade out, and we're going to have it cut out. So at the same time it's doing that, let's go to our master footage, and we're going to set keyframes for the scale. And our footage, let's parent it to our master footage. And right here, let's bring down the anchor point right here in the middle. And very simple, let's just scale this all the way up like this. Perfect. So it'll give this effect. And you can see that it might be a little bit too slow, so we might bring these keyframes. Let's bring it here so it's a little bit quicker. So that looks better. And we can select these keyframes. F9 for easy ease. Okay, now let's bring in the Eiffel Tower footage. Let's bring it in right here. So this is our footage of the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to bring it in. And I'm going to slide this a little bit over. Now, you have two options. You can come here and you can leave it like that. This is perfectly fine. Or you can give it the effect that it's coming in, it's pulling in at the same rate. And if you want to do that, let me move this keyframe over. Okay, perfect. If you want to do that, simply just parent it to the master footage right here when you're done with a move. And actually, let me zoom in. And we want to do it right at 3. Okay, perfect. So we have that effect. The only thing is that when you do that, you see that we need to basically extend this footage. And the easy way to do is just simply go to Stylize, Motion Tile, and let's make it 300 by 300. Put mirror edges. And we might want, for the opacity, we might want to start a little bit later. Maybe right about here. And let's check it out. Let me switch it to 3rd because it's going to be pretty intense. Okay. The only thing that is left is to add motion blur. And once you add motion blur, it'll really help sell the effect. And let me go back and let's do a RAM preview. So that's it. Okay, amigos, I'm going to end this stream. Thank you so much.